Assalamu alaikum.
Like Slam.
So what's up, Sonia?
What's up?
So what we interviewing about today is mental illness in the black community and trauma. But right now I want you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
And tell us your profession.
Okay, my name is Sonia Brown. I'm a trauma and grief therapist. I work on the adolescent unit at Fairmount Behavioral Health. I also have my own private practice called Just Breathe LLC, specializing in trauma and grief services for the community. Yeah.
Okay, so what that entails as far as your profession? What do you actually do?
So it varies depending on the person who contacts me. I do individual services for adults, children. Sometimes I'll do family services, depending on the needs. And sometimes that means traveling out doing a house session. Sometimes that means doing it on a Zoom call, or a person coming out to one of my to my business after hours. So it just depends on what works best for the person who's reaching out and how I can accommodate their needs.
Okay. So I want to start off with what part of the city you from?
West Philly. Born and raised.
What part of West Philly?
57th Street.
57 from what?
Hazel.
Hazel. Now, is that the north side or south side?
I don't know. Some people say I'm from Southwest. I'm like, I'm not from Southwest. I'm from West. So, I don't know. I say I'm from West Philly, 57th Street.
This West Philly, straight up West Philly.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess that's the south side, right? Ain't the north side?
I would say it's the south side.
Market Street.
South of, they say anything cross Market is considered the south side of West Philly.
Okay.
And anything cross Baltimore Avenue
is southwest.
Is southwest. That's what I was told. But my man,
right here,
he from my other man from West Philly, he from the north side.
Okay.
He said anything below Market Street is southwest.
See, no, I mean, people think that.
Anything below Market Street is southwest.
Market Street, you in southwest.
If you on the north side of Market, you West Philly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
So if you at 52nd and Hazel or the Deuce,
that's southwest.
That's southwest.
He's saying that's southwest.
Hold up. Not to jump in this joint, but like when you go on the other side of Malcolm X Park, right?
Yeah.
What is that considered? Where them big ass houses at and all that?
That's West Philly.
That's still west. That's not southwest. Like or University.
Well, University is West Philly.
University City is west.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he from north though. He from north. Yeah, he from north.
No.
So all right, West Philly.
West Philly.
South side.
So
south side of West Philly.
South side of West Philly. So is it any difference between the north side and the south side? Or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. You ain't never chilled on the north side?
No. I ain't really chill too far from the block. I wasn't really loud out the block.
For real?
Get a corner sometime. My mom ain't play that. Street lights came on. I was in the house.
That ain't what I heard.
I know. What you hear?
I know.
What they tell you?
I know. I'm messing with you. How many? You got brothers and sisters, right?
Yep. One of 9.
1 of 9?
10, 11. 11.
11?
11.
Okay, so you got including yourself.
Include myself.
Is 11.
No, include me is 9, 10, 11, 12.
12.
Yeah. Yeah, so my mom has 9, my dad has 4.
4. That's 12. Now, where you fall in at?
I'm the second oldest. So I have one older sister.
Okay.
That's me.
Now, with your mom's side, your mom kids, where you falling at?
I'm my mom's oldest child, but I grew up with my stepsister, so she's the oldest.
She's the oldest. Okay. Out of all of y'all, she's the oldest.
She's the oldest.
But with your dad kids, she
I'm
would
the
be.
oldest.
Oh, you the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got you.
Yeah.
So how was it growing up?
It was a lot of us. It was cool though.
What you mean? Elaborate.
So my mom got like 2 sets of kids. So it was the 6 of us growing up in West Philly. And then by the time I went to college and my mom started having my younger brothers, they had already moved to Jersey. So it was a different experience. So we grew up in West Philly.
Okay.
My younger brothers grew up in South Jersey. So
Now, how old is your younger brothers?
16, 13, and 12.
So all of them grew up in South Jersey.
Yeah.
And the rest of y'all grew up
in West Philly.
In West Philly. So what was the atmosphere growing up in West Philly?
I mean, I grew up on a good block. I grew up on a nice block. Everybody knew everybody, so everybody was looking out. I knew that I had to be respectful. I knew that anybody could tell me to do something, so anybody could tell me to go in the house. My mom could tell anybody else kids to go in the house, and if you know my mom, she ain't have a problem. She liked bossing people around, so when the street lights came in, she was sending on everybody. When the street lights came on, she was sending everybody kids in the house. Like, you go in the house, stop, you go in the house. And they like, my mom ain't call me in the house. She like, go in the house. So that's how we grew up. It was nice. It was always a lot of us. So,
you saying it was always a lot of y'all.
It was always us.
So what
and
that
we
mean?
had our friends over.
So what that mean? Like is a lot of y'all. So ain't nobody really coming. And what?
I mean,
Or it was a lot of y'all. It was fun because it was a lot
fun.
of y'all.
It was fun because it was a lot of us. So it was always something going on. We didn't really have a lot of alone time. We shared rooms. It was about 34 of us in a room. So, but we made it work.
So give me back in the day. Give me a typical day of all y'all in the house. Like give me a typical Saturday morning.
We get up, have breakfast, usually some cereal. We had a snack cabinet. My mom to this day got a snack cabinet. We try to raid the cabinet, get in trouble for the snacks. We did a lot of watching TV, listening to music, CDs. That was the thing in our house, playing CDs. That's it. My grandma lived right down the street, so my mom lived in one corner. Grandma lived in the other corner, so back and forth to grandma's house. My grandma usually cooked all the dinners. So we all just be piling in my grandma's house, eating food. My aunt lived on the corner, so...
Okay, so it's like it's the family block. Yeah. Okay, so y'all wake up, eat breakfast.
You could just climb the fence to get to my aunt's house.
For real? Did y'all ever climb the fence?
Walk down the street to get to my grandma. So everybody was right there. So you couldn't do nothing. You had all these eyes on you. You wasn't getting in no trouble.
On the block?
On the block. Now, if you left off the block.
Did you leave off the block?
Not often. I'm scared of my mom. I'm still scared of my mom. I'm 33 years old. So
that's what's up, though.
I wasn't playing around. My sisters tried it. I wasn't really trying it.
So they tried it?
They tried it all the time.
But the younger ones always tried it.
Yeah, they tried it. I was like, you brave. She ain't coming after me at no Sherwood.
Now, you said 57th and Hazel. That's where you grew up in, right? Tell me about the surrounding areas around there.
So
like you had 60th Street, right? And you had what else? What else was you considered like besides your block was like a hangout or like
57th Street had its own hangout. Every little corner, every couple of blocks you have a little hangout, a little group. So 57th Street had their little group.
57 what?
Like right across the street, right? So it was a group of people who used to hang out on 57th and Hazel at the corner. 56 and Rodman, you had your group down there, and then it's the group down at Addison, Osage, that kind of hung out. So you had your little pockets of people hanging out. So 57th Street was a little busy. That was a little busy street. 58th Street, not so much.
Okay.
So
what schools you went to?
So I went to Hamilton on 57th and Spruce.
Okay, that's an
elementary school, and then my mom sent me to private school from 6 to 12. So I didn't really experience high school in the city.
Okay, so what private school you went to?
I went to the Agnes Irwin School. I went to all girls private school, so I was really out the loop. By the time I got to 7th grade,
So Hamilton went up to what grade?
8th grade. So I stayed till 6, and then I left.
Oh, okay. So you didn't even finish Hamilton out? Okay. And your private school was located where?
In Villanova. So I was busting it.
That's like the main line.
Okay. I was on the main line during the day, then I'd come back home on my little short yellow bus, back and forth. When I went to high school, I caught the train out there. Yeah.
Was you the only one that went out of your
I was
sister
the
and
only
brothers?
one. My sister applied. My sister is like, she more street savvy, more like, she was more out in the mix, leaving the block, getting into trouble. So she applied to the school, intentionally didn't pass the test because she was not trying to go out there to school. So she ended up going to Bodine.
Okay. Now,
So it was just me. Everybody
you.
else kind of did their own thing.
now what's the difference from going to school out on the main line and then going to school, then coming back to your neighborhood? What's the difference?
It's a culture shock, right? I go to school, people don't look nothing like me. Well, it was like a sprinkle of people that look like me, but overall, nobody looks like me. Nobody came from my neighborhood. Nobody can appreciate what I experience every day. A lot of people didn't have to drive 45 minutes to school every day and back. So, and then so you just learn to be two different people after a while. So I was one way when I was in school. Then I get on the bus, then I turn her off. Then I turn the other girl on, the girl from West Philly. So it was just learning how to. So now my therapist would say that I compartmentalize. So everything's in groups in my life. So this is it's my school family. All right, this is the people I grew up with. All right, these are the people I work with. So I don't do a lot of mixing people. And I think that's a result of just having to learn how to shift in different environments my whole life.
Yeah, I think we all do that in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we all do that. But what's the reason why you think you do it? Because you went to the main line?
Yeah, and then I just never knew how to mix everybody. Like, I never really knew what it would look like, what it would be like. I know one time there was a party out at the school I went to. I was in middle school, and I decided to bring my friends from home out there, and it was not a good experience. And ever since that day, I was like, oh, hell no. You stay over here, you stay over here. I talk to y'all when I'm here, and then I do with y'all when but I tried it, and it just didn't work. And ever since then, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
But
I tried it.
Yeah.
I tried it. I gave it one try, and it was a disaster, and I was like, nope.
But you ain't
my friends was like, why you talking like that?
Talking like what? Talking like what?
White. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow. They was calling me out. I'm like, y'all ain't coming back out here no more. So.
Thought they was drawing on you out there?
They was drawing on me out there. Yeah.
So you ain't never had to bring the West Philly girl to the main line?
No.
You ain't never had to get with one of them girls out there?
I'm real passive, though. My personality is real passive, so I never really had to act.
They ain't never brought you to the limit?
Mm-mm.
What was the...
Then I had a friend that I met who was a year older than me and lived on 55th and Market. So I was kind of watching how she moved and just kind of copying it. And so she kind of showed me how to navigate it, and I just followed right behind her and got through it.
So all right, so you said it was a sprinkle in there, right? So
it was it was a class. I had the graduating class was maybe 60. It was 5 of us.
Out of 60. So what I'm getting at is, and the reason why I said you ain't never had to bring the West Philly girl to the main line, you never experienced nothing racial out there?
I didn't. People ask me that all the time. When people were thinking about putting their kids there, even when I put my daughter out there, they were like, you never experienced it? I'm like, And it could be I just wasn't paying attention. But, it was a good experience for me. Now, when it was over, that's when you realize you don't belong. When I was there, you just felt like you belong there. You got school with you got everybody's friends. You want to sleep over, it's parties. But then when we graduated, and that's their life. That's where they live. That's where they socialize. That's where they grow up. That's where their families live. That's where they gonna be. Once it was over for me, I had no reason to be there no more. So it wasn't a whole bunch of being invited to people's weddings and stuff like that. So that's when oh, all right, this was just temporary. This wasn't really lifelong.
Right.
So that was, but I didn't realize that until I was on the outside of it. Then I'm like, oh, okay. This was just for play. This was just to get through school.
So how you feel about it? How it made you feel?
I think that's one thing I regret about going to school out there, because I feel like I missed out on really getting connecting with people, lifelong connections with people, because I don't consider none of those connections to be lifelong, because once school ended, it was kind of for the most part, it's a couple people who I keep in touch with, but I go to different weddings and I talk to different people, coworkers. They high school friends is like everything. They do everything together.
Right.
So,
Right.
it kind of is what it is, though.
Because you probably would relate more to people of your demographic if you would have went to high school here instead of, and that's what you're talking about as far as the connection. Okay.
Yeah, but I appreciate it. I think it taught me some things, put me in positions to do certain things. But
Was it worth it?
it was. I wouldn't take it back.
See, that what counts right there.
I wouldn't take it back.
Worth it. And plus, some people, they go to high school, and then they start acting a fool. I ain't gonna mention no names.
Yeah, I can appreciate it. Like, I appreciate it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it different.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it different.
So we gonna jump back to on 52nd and Hazel, right? Y'all had a name for the block? Y'all called it a little something. What was y'all name for the block?
Like the corny one. Like, I don't know.
Oh, for real? It was just 52nd and
I
Hazel to
was
you.
just like the little goofy one that everybody was just looked out for. I wasn't hip at all. Like, I don't know nothing.
So you ain't never get into no fights or nothing?
I ain't never fight. When I'm at work,
You ain't
with the
never
girls,
fight.
I swear. The kids be like, "Listen, you ain't never get in a fight before." I be like, "No." They be like, I be like, "What?" No. You judging me? No. They think it's disgusting. Like, girl, what? I'm like, no, I never had to fight ever, not one time. Now my sister right under me, she stayed in the fight. I was so sick of that, but I never got into a fight.
So what's some of the things you've seen growing up around that area that which I would say that a young person shouldn't see or a young person shouldn't experience?
I feel like it was.
You see anybody get shot or stabbed or?
The first time I lost somebody who I felt like I grew up with, I might have been like maybe probably a senior, and the guy who used to be on the corner all the time, his brother accidentally shot him in his head. So that was the first time I experienced a loss like that.
But you didn't actually see it.
But I ain't see it.
But you experienced it though. Yeah.
I never 57th Street just wasn't that growing up. Like I didn't fights. Yeah, everybody was fighting. When we was younger, people was fighting each other and then talking to each other the next day. Like I had these boys talking. They fight all night. Fight on the corner. Just fight. Can't break them up. They fighting until they got tired. Next day they talking like ain't nothing happened. That's what I remember growing up.
Right.
It's a lot different now though. It's a lot different. But I never get shot.
Give me a time frame on that. Not to tell your age or anything, but give me a time frame on that. What's
this? Like 2003, 2004. And I'm a teenager. My mom let me sit outside late, sitting on the corner. We would sit on the corner all night, literally till the sun came up. We was safe. Nobody was getting hurt. If somebody got into it, they would fight. That's it. That's as far as it went. So it ain't the same.
So you being a trauma grief counselor, from growing up and see how the kids were interacting with each other until right now, because you talk to kids and stuff, right? And what's the difference you see in between that? Like,
angry.
What you think the switch?
I can't really pinpoint what the switch was. I don't know if it's a lack of parenting, a lack of community. Like I said, when I grew up, anybody could tell me what to do. You can't tell nobody kid what to do now, and they listen.
Why not?
I don't know. They don't have to. My mom said I ain't gotta listen to you. My mom said you can't tell me what to do. Right? They didn't do that when we was younger. If somebody told me to do something, I knew I better do it, because if my mom came home and found out I didn't, then I had a problem. Right. With her. So, just a lack of community.
You know the difference I see?
What?
When, like, we used to hooky school or do something like that, right? And one of the neighbors seen us or cussed us out, they would go to our mom, and then we would get in trouble again. but the parents could talk to each other.
Mm-hmm. Now
Right
you put
now,
somebody kid out, they want to fight.
They want to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where I see where the switch happened at. And I see, far as like, I think resources in the community got something to do with it too.
Yeah, people struggling, desperate, don't know what to do, trying to figure it out, do anything at this point.
Right.
So that's what you have.
So, what do you consider trauma, or what is trauma to you?
So it's any experience that alters your brain chemistry, but it's just anything.
Break it down for
anything
me.
that has an impact on your everyday movement. So we all traumatized. I tell people all the time, we all are traumatized, and we don't even know it. And trauma doesn't have to be. You don't have to say, "I saw somebody get shot right in front of me," to say that you're traumatized. No. You can say that I've been on Instagram watching No Gun Zone, and I see all these boys dying, look just like me, same age as me, younger than me.
Subconscious mind.
And now I'm scared.
Right.
Right? So I never experienced nobody. I just started experiencing I had some cousins die, but I never really lost somebody who I talk to on a daily basis. But I still scared to raise my kids in the city, and I still decided to move my boys. And it's not because I experienced no direct trauma. It's because I see everybody else's trauma. I'm watching everybody else bury their sons. I'm watching everybody else grieve their loved ones. And I'm like, I'm scared. I'm traumatized.
Right.
So a lot of people don't realize that
that's deep, though.
Trauma it don't mean that you saw it, witnessed it firsthand, don't mean it happened to you firsthand. It could literally be because you just witnessing it and watching it all around you, and you just you traumatize and you internalize all that stuff, and you don't even realize the impact it's having on you.
That's deep. I never looked at it like that. But if you keep on feeding yourself that every day, it becomes a part of your mentality.
Take a break from social media sometimes because it's everywhere. Or don't watch the news. You know, a lot of people I talk to be like, I don't even watch the news. I can't even watch it because it's everywhere.
Right.
There's no escaping it. So how do you deal with it?
Right, because you watch the news, it's on the news. Then you go on your phone, it's on the phone. Then you talk to one of your homies. Then somebody
from your neighborhood.
Right.
Or it's always a balloon release. Or it's always, it's always something.
You walk past and see teddy bears and candles and all. You keep seeing that. Yeah, that is.
You bothered.
Traumatized.
You're traumatized and you don't even know it. So we all walking around traumatized.
So let me ask you. I'm guessing towards your point is, if it affects me mentally, physically, emotionally, then I'm traumatized.
It's a trauma. It's a form of PTSD.
So if my dog, right, or let's say like Michael Jackson, right? Remember when they killed his underneath the table, the mouth? Was he traumatized? And I'm trying to be funny, but I'm trying to be like, because a lot of people don't know what is mental illness or trauma, or they don't know what it is.
Or don't know how to deal with it.
Or how to deal with
recognize it.
Right. Like me, I don't know how to recognize it.
So maybe I'm just sad, and I don't even know why I'm sad, but I don't realize I'm depressed.
Right.
Right? Or I'm just scared, or every time I hear a loud noise, I'm jumping, and I don't even understand it. But it's like, no, it's trauma.
So would you say
you reacted to your trauma?
So would you say Mike, with that mouse underneath the table that they killed, would you say he traumatized, or no, or it can't go down to that low of
a kid that age, yeah, right. Not for an adult. A kid that age, that was not significant to them.
Why not for an adult that see a pet or like a cat run across the street?
I mean, maybe if you really like into that. That's your thing.
Right.
That's your thing, then yeah, but definitely for kids, because kids, they don't even understand. Like, they can't even process it. And, you have a lot of kids walking around angry, snapping out, getting in trouble in school, fighting, and they think they just angry. But it's like, I tell my patients that anger is a secondary emotion. What's underneath that anger? Why are you angry? You're not angry, you sad, but you don't know how to say you sad, so you just gonna start punching stuff. right? So sometimes we got to recognize that kids don't have the mental capacity to really process the things that they see and hear and experiencing. So it's going to come out a different way. So when they're in the school space, if the staff not trauma informed, then it's just a bad kid. He keep getting into trouble. He not doing his homework.
Right.
He keep fighting. He disruptive. I'm kicking him out. And it's like, no, figure out what's up. Like, what's underneath all that? He just not angry just because he want to be.
I think a lot of people pass the buck with that too. They don't care to find out. Like
that's not my job.
Right, that's not my job. You know, because they're gonna feel as though that once I start digging into it, it's gonna be too much of a burden. Now I gotta deal with it now because I gotta go in the neighborhood now. Now I gotta actually go inside their home and actually see what's going on. A lot of people don't want to do that.
But that's another issue. We got people coming from outside our neighborhoods into our neighborhoods to teach our kids. And we want them to understand our kids. And it's like,
culture difference, right?
I can understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
Right.
They haven't experienced. They don't even understand. You asking this kid to do homework, but his cousin just got shot yesterday. You asking this kid to do homework, but he saw somebody, or he heard some sirens, or he was up all night, because whatever happened in his neighborhood, if you don't understand the neighborhood, how can you teach the kid? How can you appreciate the kid's experiences?
That's true.
And it's not to say that you have to be from the neighborhood to teach them, but you have to be willing to learn and understand what's going on in the neighborhood. Because if you don't have that knowledge, you cannot teach a child.
I agree.
Because it goes beyond just academics.
Right.
You can teach me math, but you can't appreciate that. I don't want to talk about math today. I can't focus on math today because this is going on. So I feel like it's just a disconnect. So that's part of the issue.
But then on the flip side of that, though, we don't have enough teachers, I think, that's willing
to teach our kids.
That teach our kids from our community, though. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I tell, just like I tell Barb this, though, I tell a lot of people this. We talk about police officers, right? So they say these white police officers keep, killing our black kids, our black people, and this and that. So I say, well, won't you become a police officer, right? They say, well, I don't trust the government, or I don't like the police, or it's too dangerous. So if you not willing to teach, not willing to go and be a police officer, who you leave the doors open for? Somebody got a police. The so-called people you say that's killing, and I don't even think that's I think they just use that as an excuse. I think that is trauma. They just want somebody to blame because they don't know how to deal with it. Because as we see, the police ain't really the problem in the black community. It's self-hate, I call it.
That's exactly what I call it.
In the black community, like the way we killing each other and stuff like that.
And we're not willing to do the work. We waiting for somebody else to do it for us. We do a lot of that. Waiting for somebody else to do it. Waiting for somebody else to fix it.
Right.
Waiting for somebody else to invest in our schools. Why are we not investing in our schools? Why are we not investing in our kids?
Right.
I have a friend who's a teacher, and she has parents in her class who don't want to buy the school supplies. Gave her a hard time about asking for markers and hand sanitizer to teach your kid. And it's like, okay, but you wait for somebody else to do it. But then you want to complain that there's nothing in the schools, there's no resources.
Right.
But when it's time for us to contribute, we don't want to.
Right.
So
So you being a trauma grief therapist, talking to some people, right? Just interacting. Like you could just be at a store and you hear somebody say something. What's like a trigger for you to say, oh, that person might be traumatized? And I know you probably heard you just go to the store, probably heard some crazy
what I heard
stuff.
in the store. The way people interact with their kids, I'm like,
Give me an example.
Shut the fuck up. Beat you the fuck up. All that cursing at your kids. I'm like, all right, so what happened to you? Like, what was up? Who raised you? Who taught you that this is the way you're supposed to talk to this kid? Because if you're doing this in the public where I can see you, I can't imagine how you talking to your kid behind closed doors. And it's like, we have to feed our kids what we want. We feeding into them. Like who they are is because of what we give them, what we pour into them. So if you pouring all this into this kid and they grow up to be whoever and do whatever, and you don't know what happened, but it's like, no, you do know what happened. You don't realize that you are what happened to that kid, but
right.
So just the way we talk to each other, the way we talk to people, the way we come off, it's just like it's stuff underneath there. It's not, you're just not angry.
For no
nobody's
reason.
just angry for no reason or nasty for no reason.
There's a reason behind it.
But people don't realize it. Or you block it out, or you don't even understand it, so you just mad.
Or you think you just but they
That's
gotta
just how I am. No, it's something underneath it.
yeah, but I know they gotta be like, cause you start asking yourself this question is like, you start checking yourself at some point, like, am I tripping? The way I'm coming at this dude or the way I'm going at it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then you justify it.
Now how would you
We
justify
our behaviors. So if I think I'm nothing wrong, so I don't see nothing wrong with my behavior and nobody's calling me on it, or nobody's trying to help me to understand that it's something wrong with how I'm acting, then I'm going to justify it. No, I did this because. No, because it's always a reason. Like we gonna rationalize our bullshit.
But how you help a person like that though? Like how you help a person?
They gotta want to be helped.
Right. Cause say if they don't want to hear what you saying,
You can do.
You see what I'm saying?
You can't help nobody that don't want to get help. That's the first. You gotta recognize that there's an issue, or be willing to hear that it might be an issue. If you ain't willing to hear it, you ain't willing to put in the work, then I can't want it more than you.
Right. But what can happen with that though? Cause I see a lot of young guys, right? Mm-hmm. They don't want to hear it at this young age. They out shooting, doing whatever they got to do, right? I ain't trying to hear what nobody got to say until they get older or they sitting in jail and they got time, and then they realize, like, you know what? I probably shouldn't have done
So
that.
I work with 12 to 17-year-old little boys on the unit. They really max out when they're 18, then they got to go to the adult unit. And a lot of the boys, black boys from the neighborhood, 14, 15, 16, come in, they angry, just cursing, ready to fight, aggressive. And I'm doing an intake with one of them, and he's just angry, right? Just not really trying to hear what I got to say, not really trying to answer my questions. And then at the end, he like, Miss, I ain't going to be shit. My mom said I ain't going to be shit, so I guess I ain't going to be shit. And then you're like, okay, that's deep. And he don't even realize that he done opened the door for me. Like, I'm like, all right, okay. So now I kind of see what's up. You grew up, somebody telling you ain't shit, so you like, all right, I'm going to be exactly what she told me I'm going to be. He's like, my mom said it, so I guess I ain't shit. That's what I'm going to be. And then he just started being what he think he was supposed to, what his mom said he was going to be. He said, I ain't shit. She said, I'm going to do this, then I'm doing it. But he just so angry, he didn't even realize what was coming out of his mouth.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, now I know how to deal with you.
Now, let's say, now you do got them percent of kids that grow up in a nice home, that grow up from a loving mother and father. They might not be together, but they might be together, whatever
And they
way you
just
want to
make
look at
these choices.
And they just be wild as all outdoors. What you think is some of the cases with that?
A lot of it is peer pressure. A lot of it is wanting to be something that you're not. A lot of it is wanting to be, you glorify what you see. I'm not really, I'm definitely not a person that's against rap or whatever, but I think that a lot of the problem is what media show black boys, or what they show them to aspire to be or aspire to have, right? So a lot of they so fascinated with what people have. That's all, like, how you get that? How you get that? It's like, you got this, you got that. They don't want to put the work in. They just want to get it real fast. Like, I want this real fast. And they try to dress it up. We try to dress it up. Like, as a community, we spend so much money on brands.
Yeah, we do.
We dress our kids up. We cussing them out, not pouring into them, but we going to dress them. We going to make sure they look nice. And we going to spend all this money. And people know that about our communities. We going to spend this money. And if a rapper wear it, in a couple weeks, everybody from the neighborhood going to wear it. We ain't going to put that money into our neighborhood. We ain't going to buy black. We ain't going to put it into our communities, our schools. But we going to dress it up. Now, but we dressing up mess.
Right.
Because when we take all that mess off, we still broken. We still
Underneath
confused. We still angry. We still sad. But we dress it up every day instead of dealing with the real issue.
Now, not to get off topic, but I want to hit on that. You went to school on the main line, right? And you go to probably different places and see different things that's of different culture. Now, you see us dressing the brands and all that, right?
And
in the other culture, what do you see?
We put money into other things.
Like what?
SAT prep, sports,
That's the first time.
School.
That's the first time I heard that. Money in SAT
Tuition.
prep. What is money into SAT prep? What's that?
So, they spending money on their kids' education, and on top of spending money on their education, they're spending money on extracurriculars. They're spending money on tutors, making sure that when it's time for their kids to go to college or do whatever, that they really spend all their money and resources on that. Now, we don't want to spend, we got to spend a couple dollars on a little bit of school stuff. We got an issue with it. Our priorities. Overall, not everybody.
Right.
Because there are a lot of great families, great people in the community who pour into their kids, pour into their community, but not enough of us.
Now,
it's not a priority.
But why not? Why is not a
That's what
priority?
we got to figure out. Why are we okay with just this?
Right. And
Why
why
are we
we
okay
keep...
with... We complain about the school. Some of us don't. Some of us just send our kids to school. It's going to be what it's going to be. But some of us are complaining about the schools.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's time for us to contribute, it's an issue. So we just got to be willing to do the work and stop waiting for other people to do it. That's how I see it.
So, give me an example far as the work you saying. What is putting in the work?
Little stuff. Like if your kid get a supply list, send the kid the supplies to school. Support the teacher. I have another friend who's a teacher, and she literally was cursed out by a parent. Like, it's Thirsty Thursdays. Don't you go to Thirsty Thursdays? Why are you giving all this homework? What?
Thirsty Thursday? What's that? Like a drinking something?
Thing. I don't know. I don't drink.
So she's saying
she basically cussing the teacher out. Like, why are you giving out this homework? I got stuff to do.
To go out and drink.
I don't got time to do this homework with this kid.
Wow.
She even tell the teacher.
Yeah,
that, though, like,
she was like in shock. I'm like, but this is stuff she was dealing with all year. But I'm trying to pour into your kid, and you fighting me. I'm trying to make change. I'm trying to show the kids something different because it's really that's what it start with.
So,
but
it's easy to say the mom might be traumatized too, right? For saying
she
that.
don't see no.
But
she don't see no value in it, so it's a reason why.
Right,
Yeah.
but ain't that's like she traumatized by something?
It's a disconnect somewhere.
Or
it's a reason why you don't care. Why don't you see value in it? What don't you understand?
Okay.
Why can't you appreciate that this is important for your kid?
So
gotta figure that out.
Right. So, but is that would you? So, if you hear people cases, right? Mm-hmm. You ever like heard somebody case and say, "No, you're not traumatized. This is something else," or you just like tripping a little bit? Nah, you're not really traumatized. Or are you saying everybody is traumatized?
If you live long enough, hell yeah, everybody. Now, I'm not saying the little kids, the innocent kids running around don't really know. I think the beauty about being a kid is that you really don't understand or appreciate what's going on around you a lot of the times. But at a certain age, yeah, you experience a little bit of trauma. You live long enough, you experience trauma. It might not be direct. Mm-hmm. Some people have it worse because they experience direct trauma. Abuse, sexual abuse. They lose somebody close to them. They got to experience that. So it's trauma that goes along with grief, right? You lose somebody suddenly.
Break that down for me.
You lose somebody suddenly. Mm-hmm. You traumatized. It's a shock. You shocked. You didn't expect it. You didn't know what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. You shocked. There's trauma that goes along with experiencing all of that, the processing all of that. But then on the other side, it's the grief part. So, all right, now I got to grieve this person. And I don't really know what it means to grieve. And I don't really understand that the impact it can have on me. Like some people, I can't get out the bed and I don't understand that I'm grieving. Or I can't function or I can't concentrate. But I can't understand it or appreciate that that's grief.
Right.
So I don't understand it. And I don't have nobody to help me work through it, right? We don't have enough resources in the community. We don't have enough grief counselors. And then therapy is expensive. That's the other part of it. Like, we can't even afford to go to therapy if we want to as a community because it's expensive. It can be expensive to pay for therapy, right? So even if you recognize it that you need it, you don't even know how to get it because of the cost associated with it. So
it ain't no way where...
There's definitely some free spaces, but think about everything that's happening. They're at capacity. We need more. It's too much going on at one time. Literally.
So
families are literally burying their loved ones at a rapid rate right now.
So we got the kids killing, right?
Kids killing each other, adults killing each other.
Adults killing each other. Poverty. I guess that go hand in hand
Lack of
with job
resources.
losses.
They had the pandemic. So
Lack of
people lose their
resources.
job, kids at
Pandemic.
home.
Right.
Not enough of whatever. Sometimes not enough food. Not enough supervision. Right? Because everybody didn't stay home from the pandemic. Some people had to work, and then their kids are out of school. So they can't really monitor their kids. Daycare's closed. Just a lot, and not having a lot to fall back on. Already not having enough till you hit with a pandemic. Already not having enough and you lose your job. Or you got to cut back hours. So you got to figure it out. And sometimes that might mean doing something
You shouldn't be doing.
you shouldn't be doing. Right?
So
Desperate.
Yeah.
Being desperate.
I
Being
mean,
desperate to do.
Yeah, everybody, I think, and everybody willpower is different too. So, whereas two people might experience, and let me know what you think about that. Two people might experience the same type of trauma, but one person lose his mind, but the other person try to figure a way to make his situation better. Like, elaborate on that for me. Like, why you think that is?
So we all react to things differently. We all have a different tolerance or breaking point, right? So his breaking point might be, some people might be able to, be resilient, stay in it, be patient with it, figure it out. Somebody else, they don't have that. They don't have it. They don't have the capacity. They can't deal with that much. So it just depends on the person. So if I can't deal with what he can deal with, so he can deal with it, right? It's not heavy on him, but it's heavier on me, the same situation, and I'm going to react different.
But shit, though, it seems like a lot of us can't handle it then.
can't.
Right?
But we're not put in good situations. Like, we're put in these communities close together, a bunch of people, all dealing with the same stuff, but don't even realize we're dealing with the same stuff, all traumatized, all grieving, in the same space. So I'm grieving, I lost somebody a month ago, you grieving, you lost somebody a couple of days ago, I'm traumatized, you traumatized, now we forced to live together, we can't empathize with each other, right? I can't appreciate that you might be coming off this way because you just having a bad day. So now I want to be on some, we got a problem, when it's really just, we both just dealing with the same stuff, and it's just hard.
So how would they handle that?
How they should have it, we got to learn to empathize with each other. Be compassionate towards one another. But I don't care what she dealing with. She shouldn't have said blank, blank, blank. She shouldn't have did. They ain't got nothing to do with me. But it do.
But that goes
What
back.
that person experiencing do got something to do with you,
Right.
because y'all got to share the same space. So you ain't got to be all up in it. You don't got to give them nothing. You don't really, just be empathetic. Like, all right, I'm going to empathize with you because I remember what that was like.
Give me an example of empathizing with somebody. Like how
Give
would
somebody
you
a pass. Like, sometimes we just be on go as a community. Like, somebody do one thing wrong to us, we up in arms. We ready to fight or do whatever. But it's like, give them a pass. They dealing with this. And we might know what they dealing with, but we still want to feel like we've been disrespected.
So I'm gonna give you an example, right? So I'm driving down the street. Somebody double park, right? And I can't. It's a one-way street. So, but they double park in the middle of the street, right? So I go down the street. I waited for them. I go down the street, turn to another block. Somebody else double park. So I gave that person a pass. Then I'm gonna give this person a pass. Now I'm gonna turn down this other block and I'm gonna give this person a pass.
How many passes you gonna give up?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, and they could be going through something. I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
But we gotta be.
They had this I don't care
know.
mentality, right? This nonchalant mentality. But it's like some of their trauma or whatever they're going through, can that spill over on us?
I always tell people, you think you dealing with, you don't know who in front of you. So you might be, in your bag, you think you will confront this person for being double parked. You don't know what this person dealing with. You don't know. You don't know who in front of you. You don't know this person could have just lost their child and they don't got nothing to lose. Meanwhile, you just in your bag that day, you ain't really trying to be on no tip, but they don't got nothing to lose and you just trigger them, boom.
Right.
Something happen.
Right.
When you could have just, I mean, it's annoying, but you could have just been like, all right. We just got to be more aware of that. Like, you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know what the next person is dealing with.
That's true.
So we got to be mindful. Sometimes we just got to be less combative, less ready.
I agree.
Not as ready to react. Now, everything, has its limitations. But even if somebody is double parked, it's the way you ask the person to move, too. Mm-hmm. It's all about how you deliver it, too. It's not what you say all the time. It's how you say it.
Whatever you say, fuck you, man, get out of here.
I mean, if it's worth it, just like,
right.
Because at that point, you got to think about it.
Just back up out the street.
For you to move and you react like that,
yeah, you tripping. I ain't even gonna get it. Yeah,
I ain't really know what's coming next. Is it really worth it to me to find out?
Right.
Do I really want to find out what you're dealing with? Because that's not even an appropriate reaction for somebody that's sane. So I'm just asking you to move out the street. You say, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, something wrong with you. You got to recognize, okay, that person might be dealing with something.
Right.
Well, that might be some mental illness. Yeah. Because that's not how a normal person would respond to me asking you to move out the street when you know I can't get past if you don't move.
Right. Right.
Normal person, my bad. Here I come. Mm-hmm. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody coming off like that, you just got to be like, am I really trying to deal with that mental illness?
And I go around the other corner and they double park too. And the other boy say, fuck you too.
You be like, this a neighborhood.
I gotta get out this neighborhood. Yeah. I gotta get out this neighborhood.
Yeah. But is it worth it?
Yeah.
Like, who is standing in front of me?
Right.
And can I match what they got coming? Not all the time.
Yeah.
And it don't got nothing to do with you being tough. Mm-hmm. Don't got nothing to do with nothing. It's like, you don't know what other people dealing with. Mm-hmm. And some people ain't got nothing to lose.
Right. I see.
At the moment, they feel like they don't. So they willing to do whatever.
Right.
What I care for.
Yeah. And I see a lot of pride, you know what I mean, as far as in the black community too. Because I think pride is a good thing, but it depends on what you focusing your pride on. Mm-hmm. Like if your pride, like I'm proud of, I got a job or I went to school or something positive, instead of being proud about, I'm hearing now we the second
deadliest, right?
Right? Yeah, we the from Chicago, right, or something like that. Yeah, and I hear a lot of these young boys, glorifying it, and they proud about that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think they don't appreciate how permanent death is. Like outside, all right, after they do your balloon release, after they do your wear their little T-shirts for you and write the little posts. When all that's done, you still dead. Like, you ain't no coming back from death. It's not like, I don't think young people really appreciate how permanent it is. Like, this is permanent. There's no coming back from it. So is this really worth it?
Right.
I don't think they appreciate that. I don't think they really understand what it is. I think it is a game. I don't know if they think they in Grand Theft Auto lately. I really don't know. I don't know. But I really don't. You can't really appreciate how permanent death is to be doing it like this. To just be, it's like a game. Shooting broad daylight.
Right.
Shooting each other.
I mean,
then it's self-hate, like you said.
Yeah, self-hate,
That's the number one issue.
Yeah.
You cannot possibly love yourself if you want to do that to somebody who looks just like you.
Just like you, yeah.
Same story as you. Right. Same block as you. Or similar block as yours.
Right. I don't want you to look like me, though. Like, I want to be the only one. That's what it seems like.
But I'm not going to do nothing to my house, but I'm going to project my hate on you.
Yeah. 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 Now, what's the... And that's crazy, too. But to get to that subject that you just touched on, between being traumatized and mental illness, because do they go hand in hand? Like, somebody that's like... you will see somebody that's out there talking to themselves, or might be banging their head against.
Event can trigger mental illness, so it could trigger someone. Somebody could be predisposed, right? So there's mental illness in their family. So it's like under the surface, it's there already. But what
you mean mental illness in the family?
Yeah, like people, history of mental illness in your family. Like my mom bipolar, my dad bipolar, my grandma schizophrenic. Some people have mental illness in their family, so you're already predisposed. So
mental illness is considered, well, I guess an illness or like a disease or something like that.
And some you can't help it. Some people just born some people just have a mental illness. You have a mental illness, it's there. And that's why, you have hospitals. Some people have to be medicated. Some people have to live their lives on medication in order to manage their mental illness. And that's that. Some people have mental illness and it's predisposed, so that means it's there, right? But you living regular. You don't really know.
Until you start taking your medication?
No, you haven't even taken medicine. You just regular person, regular day as far as you're concerned.
So you don't even know you have it. That's what you're saying?
Something happened to you. Lose your mind. Mental illness it comes up. It comes from below the surface. Now it's on the surface, right? Because it triggered it. That trauma triggered this event. Now your mental illness is shown. Now we can see your mental illness. Now it's outward. So it was under the surface all this time. You was raped. A lot of times, you see girls was raped. Mm-hmm. So that trauma brought their mental illness to the surface. Now you know, oh, that's schizophrenic. Oh, she got some psychosis. She having her first psychotic break. But it was triggered by the trauma she experienced.
The trauma, wow.
So now, I got to figure out how I'm going to manage this. And that might be medication, might be inpatient, psych. Some people, sometimes they go and it's no bringing them back. Sometimes it's so traumatic, it's no bringing it back. Sometimes you on a medicine and your baseline is just different. So your baseline was like, you could function normal day to day, you was doing your thing. No signs of illness, mental illness. And then you have a psychotic break and now you're on this medicine, but you're not the same. You're never the same again. You just got to manage it the best you can. But trauma can really, some people just, mental illness, some people just, they have it. It's just there. But they have medicines to manage it.
Right.
And as long as they're on their medicine, they kind of, so if you see somebody banging their head, talking to themselves, there's a chance that they off their medicine. Right. There's a chance that they haven't even been treated yet or diagnosed yet. So there's a chance that they were like that all their lives. There's a chance that they experienced something that kind of brought that to the surface.
So do you gotta experience trauma to have a mental illness, or can it?
No, because we all experience, so some people experience trauma and they just, therapy, different, talking to somebody, dealing with they could deal with the trauma that way. And then that's it. They just, a person who just had a trauma and needs some help. Need somebody to talk to, need to go to therapy and kind of manage it that way. Other people need to be medicated. So it just depends. So not everybody that experiences a trauma is going to have a mental illness diagnosis outside of, just the trauma diagnosis. But other people, trauma can kind of lead to other things. Trauma can
lead to, like you said, the mental illness.
Trauma can be what brings out your mental illness, brings your mental illness to the surface. So it was already, some people.
So you're saying it was already in you?
It's underlying. Yeah, it was there already. But then you have this traumatic event. And then sometimes the traumatic event sparks a mental illness. All right, so your brain never recovers from the trauma. So now you have these new mental illnesses, these new diagnoses that you never dealt with your whole life until after you experience the trauma.
Can you get rid of mental illness, or does it always stay? But you can't get rid of it. It ain't no cure for mental illness.
You can manage it, right? Cure, you can manage it. You can do the work to live with it. But even a brain injury, some people you see on the street, they suffer the brain injuries, car crash, motorcycle accident, hitting the head during a fight. I grew up with somebody who was hitting the head, fell down the steps, and ain't been right since. So brain injury can really.
And what you mean ain't been right since? Like what's not?
Now he has mental illness, so he's talking to himself. So he doesn't take the medicine he should take to manage the mental illness, so he's just roaming the streets. And this has been for like 20 years now.
Okay.
And prior to falling down the steps again, hitting the head, he was a regular guy.
Right.
But he had that brain injury, and it's serious.
So
it just changed everything. It changed his life.
So according to you, right? Everybody in this room right now experiencing some type of trauma.
I believe, yes.
So if we experience this trauma,
directly or indirectly.
Okay. So if we experience this trauma and we knowing how to deal with the trauma, right? Should we get a therapist?
I think everybody needs a therapist. I said this. Everybody needs a therapist. I have a therapist. We all need a therapist because we are living in the time that we're living in is just crazy. And we're dealing with so much. It's heavy. I think black men need therapists. Black men deal with a lot.
Right. Break it down. Break it down.
Scary.
What we deal with? What we deal with?
Scary.
What we deal with?
Responsibility. If you own the responsibility of being a man, taking care of your family, taking care of the household, worrying about going outside, something happening to you, worrying about getting pulled over, something happening to you, like all the stress that come with that. You got to worry about all of that. So you got to know how to deal with it and manage that. Then you got to deal with this family stuff, and you got to sometimes raising kids, going to work every day, managing a world where it's set up for you to fail. How you don't think you need a therapist dealing with all that? What's the outlet?
Talking to my homie.
Okay, maybe.
Can my homie be my therapist?
I got a homie to talk to. I mean, definitely having somebody to talk to, even if you're not willing to go to therapy. Some black people not open to therapy, don't believe in therapy.
But why not though? I'm glad you touch on that. Why you think black people ain't open to talking to
because
a
there's a stigma associated. If you go to therapy, you crazy. You must be crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I don't want to be crazy.
Right.
So I want to talk to somebody to make sure that I can manage all the stuff that I'm dealing with. But or don't tell nobody your business. I grew up in a house. What happens in this house stays in this house.
Right.
Don't be telling nobody what's going on in our house.
But somebody and I understand that, but you could tell your business to somebody that you don't know or that know your family, right? That would come into my head. Now, I don't want to tell my business. I tell people the good thing about having a therapist is you can tell this person your business and they can't repeat it. As long as you don't go in that therapist's office like, when I leave here, I'm going to get my gun and I'm going to blow that so-and-so brains out. Now, I got to tell somebody that. I got to warn so-and-so about what you said. Or when I leave here, I'm going to go to the bridge and I'm jumping off of it. I got to tell somebody because you're a threat to yourself or other people. But outside of that, what you say to me is between us. So when you walk out the door, you done laid all your stuff on me. You feel lighter. You going about your day. So give me. And I can't say nothing. I cannot repeat anything you told me. So give me a typical day or an experience as getting a therapist, because I want black people to see therapists in a different light,
or see therapists that look like us. That's another thing. I don't really want to talk to. I can't really share my. I can't really. Yeah, they don't know what we talking about. They can't relate.
It's just like the teachers.
So it's good. Yeah, it's good to have therapists that look like you from your neighborhood, can appreciate your experience more.
So we need more black therapists.
We do.
Because if I need the help, or should I even, if they don't relate to where I come from, should I even go and look to even get the help? Or try to get some help.
Sometimes it's not even really about being right. So you might be in a situation where you just can't find a therapist that look like you. You can't find a therapist that you feel like can relate to you. So as a therapist, we're trained to at least empathize and appreciate and understand. Like, I gotta learn if I want to serve a population with people. So even me, if I don't want to work in the city, although all my work is done in the city, if I wanted to go work in a different state or if I want to go back to the main line and do some therapy, now I got to learn this space. I got to be able to appreciate what this person is coming and talking to me about.
You said learn this space. So what's learning this space? What's learning this space?
Understanding the culture. Taking time to learn the culture that you're dealing with.
Now, how can they take time to learn the culture?
A lot of different things. Sometimes you got to read a book. I don't know. You got to look on YouTube. I don't know.
But you think that,
or take the time to understand. Like, I haven't experienced this.
Because how would they understand, or just
being
right?
real, being ready to, at least willing to learn.
Okay, but how would they learn though? Like
from the client.
So if
from the client talking to you.
So
I'm not from West Philly, but can you help me to understand?
So the patient is actually teaching the therapist too.
Tell me, help me. It's like joining. All right, let me understand what it's like to be in your world. I'm not going to pretend that I know.
Right.
And I don't. So I want to take the time. I want you to tell me.
So what happened if he tell a therapist, all right, come on my block and hang with me for?
Because I'm a therapist. Me as a therapist? All right, come on.
Sorry,
I want to be able to appreciate what you experience. But if I don't know, I'm gonna ask you as a therapist,
Yeah.
and that's it's important because I gotta be willing to go into your world and understand your world fully before I can really help you navigate it. How am I supposed to navigate your world as a stranger in it? Don't understand it. Don't know what
Right.
you're talking about. Using words I don't know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta be honest with myself and be like, I don't understand this. I need you to help me understand what this means. I need you to help me understand what it mean to beef with a block. I don't understand. They don't beef with blocks where I'm from. What does that mean? Why is that significant? Help me understand it.
Right.
And once I can understand it, I might not be. Maybe I didn't experience it, but I can empathy. If you have empathy, doesn't mean you experience this thing that the other person experienced, but you have compassion and you care about their experience.
So why you don't think it's enough black therapists?
I think they're on the rise. I know a lot of young, dope black therapists coming through. I think it just was a stigma. I don't think that we saw the significance of having black therapists. I don't think we always could appreciate mental illness as a thing.
Like as we do now,
I think we appreciate it.
We're talking about a lot more, right?
I think it's coming to the front. People talking about it. Celebrities talking about it. Celebrities being honest about it. You know, I know Meek Mills posted something about going to therapy, and sometimes you need that.
Oh yeah,
right?
He said something about going to therapy. Oh, that's cool.
I saw it. I think I reposted it on my page.
I know Charlamagne.
He talked.
He said the same thing. Right. Everybody needs it.
So even though we got people on the floor in the communities on the ground doing it, sometimes you need somebody like a Meek Mill to get somebody else's attention. Because some of the young guys paying attention to everything he say and do.
Right.
You know, so I think it's becoming more of a okay thing, a normal thing to do. I think before it just wasn't a thing. So we was just trying to manage on our own, and look where it got us.
Yeah. We
ain't managing well. At all.
And I think that go back to, if you break it down, like pre-slavery, that been passed down through generation. Because I think it's at one point where, and I think, not to get off topic, but I think that's why we as black people traumatized about getting vaccinated, is because subconsciously how we don't trust the man and
trust the government,
right? And what they did to his experiment with the syphilis. You know what I mean? So it's like
trauma. That's trauma,
right?
Indirect
trauma.
None of us was around doing that,
right?
Experiment. We did not experience that.
Yeah,
but
right.
We like, no, y'all, we traumatized. Y'all trying to do something.
Y'all trying to do something.
Y'all trying to stick something. Y'all trying to put something in us.
And I think that's what they don't realize. It's like through the years and centuries, you know, we treated this population and these people, these demographic of people like this. Now we want everybody to get vaccinated, and they seem like they kind of confused on why a lot of black people won't get vaccinated.
Like, no, you know why.
Yeah. So like, why we playing this game? Yeah.
But it's a lot of reprogramming. We got to reprogram our whole mindset, reset our whole community, all our communities, just in
change the culture.
Change it.
That's what I say.
Change our priorities.
Yeah. And that's part of changing the culture though, because some of our priorities is in our culture and how we handle things.
Stuff that don't mean nothing.
Right.
That don't really got no value, but we put so much value in it. What bag you carry, what shoes you got on, what car you driving. Meanwhile, you pulling up in this nice car and this neighborhood is trash. Right. The school across the street from you is trash.
Right. And you seen it firsthand.
You don't go,
Yeah. The difference. Like I walked down University of Penn, right? And I seen something growing up in South Philly. I seen some of the difference coming from where I come from. But then you go up on 2nd Street or 2nd and Porter and stuff like that, and it's sort of like our houses, but it's cleaner, it's nicer, is put together. So a lot of people say, well, the reason why we killing each other is because we surrounded by each other. So we killing each other because there's a lot of black people. We only see us. If we were surrounded by white people, we'd be killing white people. But we not surrounded. But I don't believe it. I don't either. Because I said, well, white people live around white people. Just down South Philly, they not killing each other up there like that. They not shooting each
I
other.
don't believe that.
But you get to our neighborhood, they killing
because
them.
why we? It don't take, but you can go down a couple blocks and be in a different neighborhood. Why we not in that neighborhood doing the same thing?
Right. Self-hate. Or
why we
being
go to
traumatized.
we go to certain neighborhoods and we behave a different way. We not throw trash on the ground in King of Prussia. When we go to the mall, we ain't gonna throw this trash out the window.
Right.
But we get out our car and just, why we treat stuff that belong to us like that?
Yeah.
Self-hate.
Yeah.
Why we don't take care of what belongs to us? Why we don't take care of our schools and the kids in our schools?
Right. Or your neighbor. Just seeing you. So let's get on the change. What you think, or what's some of the possibilities you see of us changing the community?
It's starting with us really recognizing our own stuff. We all got stuff. I got stuff. Recognizing for what it is. We got to work on it first. We got to recognize what it is, what we dealing with.
But when you, and I heard you talk about the work. Now, what is the work though? Like, what is us working? Like, some people need a blueprint to this.
Therapy. Go to therapy.
Therapy.
I think everybody.
So you think if we go to therapy, now that's just one step
to start understanding what's going on. What's going on? Why do I behave this way? Why do I do certain things? And it could be like you do everything pretty much all right, but we all got something wrong. Why am I like how I am? Why I'm doing this? Why I behave like this? Everybody, we got to figure it out.
So let's say if my trauma ain't as bad as that person, or I just went through a little something, and some people be like, I don't need no therapist.
Work on your stuff now before your stuff become a big something.
Now what you
right?
mean?
Because if you keep adding little stuff, little stuff starts stacking up. Then you look up one day, and you just like the person you.
Right. But how would I or anybody else?
Just processing it. We got to do better at processing our experiences.
That's what, but see, people don't know how to process.
Right,
They
and
don't know what they're looking at.
And that doesn't mean posts, because I think what I discourage people from doing is going to social media when they're grieving. Well, this is what I see.
What you see?
There's a lot of posting, but it's like,
what, like
are you
posting
posting?
what?
And I know
person that died or something like that?
It's something therapeutic about, being able to post on social media and have people, comment, send their condolences and all that, right? It's something therapeutic about being able to share with other people what you're feeling. But then, what work you doing outside of that? Posting. Are you truly processing it, or are you just posting it?
But what you mean truly processing it?
Like dealing with it. Like, I feel sad.
But how should they deal with being sad?
Go to somebody that can help you to process it.
So you saying,
now, one thing I know that a lot of families, who experience gun violence, for instance, there are different organizations who reach out immediately to work with the family, meet with the family, talk to the family. Now, it might not be a therapist that necessarily look like you, but that's a start. Okay, let me start here. And then I could do the work to find somebody else who I think I could connect with a little bit more. But just be open to that when you get that phone call. Be open to having those conversations. Sometimes it doesn't feel necessary, but it is very much necessary. It's just necessary.
Now,
because y'all all can't help each other, right? Now, y'all can lean on each other. You can, share comments.
But how I know if this therapist can help?
You don't know. But it might not be that therapist that can help you, but it's one that can.
But
so it's okay to change therapists. Some people think you don't gotta. You have a session with one therapist, you ain't feeling it. Next, you go to a store, you don't like it. What they got, you go to the other store.
Right. But let's say
you find your therapist.
So
it might take a minute.
Oh, all right. That's what I was getting at. It could be 4 or 5.
With a therapist, find somebody you can vibe with.
But you saying you need
somebody. We need somebody to talk to, and we might come from. You might experience a trauma. You come from a large family, so y'all all can lean on each other. But y'all all dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
So I might not be able to show up for you fully if I'm still trying to figure out how I'm feeling about it.
Right.
So we need somebody who can come from the outside to help all of us, or just help one of us.
Right.
Kind of work through it, and didn't experience it. Right. I want to be there to support you, and I can support you, and I can show empathy, and I can help you understand what the stages of grief look like, and what stage of grief you might be in, and you can we can talk about that and walk through that experience. And it's easy for me to do it because I'm not grieving with you.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm grieving with you, yeah, we could be there for each other to an extent, but
Yeah.
I can't help you process it, and I'm trying to process it.
Right. Right.
I can't help you not be sad, and I'm sad.
And I'm sad, yeah. Because they going to think, well, damn, who going to...
But I got to ignore my stuff.
And listen to you,
And
but
help
who
you.
going to listen? Yeah, if you...
And then,
yeah.
like the strong one in the family, I'm there for everybody else, but then...
Right. Who going to be
and
there for
then
you?
when
Right.
it's nighttime, and I got all this stuff on me, and I can't figure out how to sort it
Right.
out.
Yeah, that's deep.
Go to a therapist.
Yeah.
So they can help you sort it out.
Right. That's deep.
And they got it. They have the energy and the
Yeah.
capacity to take it in because they didn't experience what you experienced. They didn't lose somebody. You did.
So when did you realize you needed a therapist? Did you become a therapist? Did you become a therapist first?
Hell no.
And said like,
So I started going to therapy.
Uh-huh.
So I had it's divorce. Divorce is traumatizing.
I believe it is.
I could spend an hour talking about that. But so I just experienced a divorce, and I was driving the kids to school one day, and I just started bust out crying. And I was like, oh, I gotta go talk to somebody. I'm tripping. I'm losing my mind.
So you ain't...
I was able to hold it in. I was holding so much in, and then it just all came out. And I was like, wow, I need to talk to somebody about this.
It just came out. Mm-hmm. Like you said, well, did
But
you
mine
know?
came
Did you
out
know?
through tears. Imagine somebody else
Right.
build out, and then it come out a different way. Luckily for me,
Yeah.
I just bust out crying and couldn't control it. Just was crying.
But did you say? Why is this? Did you know where it was coming from? Like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
knew.
through this.
Yeah.
Like, this was happening.
I knew I was sad. I knew I was trying to keep going, keep working, dealing with my kids. Mm-hmm. And it was just it was a buildup. And I felt it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't really appreciate what was going on, but I felt it. Mm-hmm. But I knew that somebody needed to help me figure this out. Because I didn't want to be, I wanted to be able to be the best.
You want to be
version of
right for
myself
your
my
kids.
kids.
Right.
So that's what made me go. And then my therapist was so dope. Mm-hmm. Somebody had already said something to me. They put the bug in my ear, like, you might be good with talking to people, being a counselor, being a therapist. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm. And then I started meeting with my therapist, and I was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And then a close friend of mine lost her nephew. And she called me out to the hospital. And then I was just standing there, like outside looking in, right? Because I wasn't really close to her nephew. I didn't know him that well. Mm-hmm. Watching the family hear the news and watching how everybody reacted to it, right? Just hearing the screams. Mm-hmm. People watching family members fall out and trying to console each other. And then looking around and there's nobody there to help this family. And they falling out. They trying to pick each other up, console each other. And I'm like, where is the professionals? They all inside the hospital, right? You got the doctors inside the hospital.
Right.
Dealing with the medical part of it.
That's deep. That's deep.
Where are the people who out here with this family after you break this news to them?
Right.
They out here on their own.
Right.
And that's when I was like, wow, we need something.
The ambulance come.
The ambulance came.
Cops come.
The EMTs. They do their job. They do their part.
But for
and
the
then you
mental
leave this
stability.
family out here by themselves. Loved one dead on the inside. At a hospital, not everybody can get to them. You let like the mom and dad view the body. But then you got all these family members outside, cars to keep pulling up. Once everybody here, everybody get the call, everybody pulling up. Everybody breaking down one by one, breaking down, screaming, crying, yelling, angry, sad. And ain't nobody out there. Nobody out there to help. Not even to give a tissue.
Right.
Water.
Because that's showing empathy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just be there. Nobody was there. You break the news and then you walk back inside. Next patient.
Damn.
So when I witnessed that, I was like, yeah, this isn't good.
Yeah.
This isn't good. You shouldn't leave families out here like that.
So that's what,
what I was like, okay,
switch, like,
I was like,
I'm going to do
the
this.
next week I apply to school. Because I was like, we need something. If this is happening every day, for the most part, and these families really out here just left alone to deal with it, because even if it's a bunch of them, they still, all of them, they alone in it, because they all dealing with the same thing.
It's becoming it's
And
becoming they normalizing it, but that's a trauma though, right? Because
Yeah, because it's not normal.
It's not normal for you to be going through something like
It's not
that
normal.
and continue to see something like that.
You know, I've been
right?
talking to some teenagers. One day I did a high school summit, and they were like, "Yeah, we're at the basketball game," and they start shooting. Like, yeah, we had to run. That's not normal, but it's normal for them,
Right.
and that's a problem. When something traumatic or tragic like that become a normal thing in the community, we have a problem.
That's
Because at this point, kids talking about it like it's nothing.
yeah, and that's what's happening. You know, we seeing that. That's what's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
It's like another day, another kid, another man,
Right.
woman. Because at this point,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's anybody and everybody.
Right. We see, and I think it's so crazy now because more and more I'm seeing women getting killed and children.
Pregnant women.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. No value for life. Nobody, no desire to protect women or protect children. Like, once upon a time, you was safe if you was a woman.
Yeah.
Kids was protected a little bit more.
Right.
Now they shooting, kids standing around, women standing around. There's no value.
Now, to touch on that right there, right? Some of these females, they'll go for the guy that's in the streets.
Yeah.
Right? Now, they get caught up. Because I think that's what's happening too. They just get caught in the crossfire. You see what I'm saying? Or you with him, you gonna get it too. Right? So, some of these females,
But we glamorize their lifestyle.
yeah, they gotta separate themselves, or I guess. Now, what would you classify that? Because why are they going in that direction, in that lane?
Because look what's being publicized. Look what the media show us. Look at the lifestyle. It's not necessarily that they want to be put in danger or be in a situation where they might get shot.
Right.
But I want what comes with that.
Right.
I want to be able to buy this. I want to be able to have that.
Right.
And the only way I see myself having it is, I got to do this. Or I got to deal with him because he got this.
Right. And I
So
don't care what the consequences
I'm not even processing it as consequences that come with it, because I just want this thing. I want to be able to say I got this. Because that's important. That's what I value.
Right.
And until we start valuing different things.
But what would you say the reason why they go in that direction? Because it's some form of trauma?
What? Yeah, something's missing. Something's lacking.
Right.
Sometimes we don't even appreciate for what it is. Why do I want this so bad? Because I didn't have it growing up.
And that's trauma.
Because I went without.
And that's trauma. Because I want this father figure, and I missed out on my dad left. That traumatized me, so I'm going towards that.
But I don't realize that is the reason why I'm chasing my dad. Like, I don't realize I'm chasing my dad.
Right, you don't, right.
I don't realize I got daddy issues.
Right.
I don't realize I got mommy issues. Because some men, the way some men treat women, it's like, where'd that come from? Oh, your mom left. Your mom abandoned you. But you don't realize, you can't appreciate it for what it is.
Right.
It's just a behavior, and you just used to behaving that way, so you just move how you move. But we'll never take. Sometimes we just gotta take the time to understand. Okay, what's underneath this? Why I keep getting married, getting divorced? Why I keep running through these women? Why I keep disrespecting these women? Why I keep chasing these men and it's ending in the same way?
And that's what a therapist.
Yeah,
help
a
you
therapist will help you
reveal.
Even just building out a genogram.
What's that?
It's like sometimes I'll have my my clients. I'll say, okay, we just gonna do a family tree. I just want to say, I just want to understand your family dynamic, and it'd be like mom, dad, or dad missing from the tree, or your mom's dad is missing from the tree, or you got your siblings and everybody got a different dad. Like, just trying to understand, like, the generational stuff. Because some stuff is generational and just keep repeating. It's a cycle, keep repeating. So just want to even break the generational stuff.
Right.
Understand that. Like,
and they not realizing, oh, I'm doing what my dad did.
Damn, I'm doing exactly what my grandma did.
Yeah, like, and I ain't even.
My mom doing what my grandma did. I'm doing what she did. If I don't recognize this and try to switch it, the chance may be that my daughter gonna do exactly what we all did. But sometimes you can't see it until it's in front of you.
Right. Right.
You can look at it and be like, oh, wow,
Right.
this ain't right.
Hey, Shania, I might get a therapist after this
good.
session, cuz.
Okay, good.
I might do a genogram. I might get a therapist after this. It's kind of deep right here, and I don't even know. I go to work, you know what I mean? I think I'm doing good. I'm taking care of my family. No, I'm fucked up.
I got some stuff. Shit, I messed up.
Damn. That's deep, though.
That's a problem.
Yeah. And we
gotta
all
really start dealing with our
experiencing
stuff.
that, right? And
That's the problem.
I think ours, as far as the black community, is times 100 than other communities because what we experience.
Yeah.
So we
Our
go
history is deep.
right. We go through the everyday traumatizing, like you might get another community or culture, and they be like, "Damn, this pandemic whooping our ass," and
But our ass been whooped already.
right.
So we ain't even recovered.
So we going
pandemic.
through what you going through, plus the shit that we ain't even recover from. Yeah.
And they want everybody to be peaceful and kumbaya, living together in harmony.
Right.
How?
Like how? Yeah.
We don't even understand. You didn't give us what we need to truly deal with what we were already dealing with.
Right.
And then we hit with a pandemic.
Right. How you feel about the resources, the money that they giving coming to I think it's 150 million.
I see it, but
So what would you do if you had the 150 million, right? And you got to give it to the community. What would you do? How would you divvy it up?
schools, rec centers. Because right now it's kids. Right now it's just the number of kids dying is just ridiculous. And we got to do something. We got to save these kids. We really got to be intentional about putting resources into their schools, putting trauma therapists into their schools, because when they get back to school,
Right.
it's going to be heavy. And you
But
might
let's
not
say-
be able to just go right into reading, writing.
But how about the ones that's not going to school? How are we going to reach them?
We got to try. We got to get these outreach. People got to be on the ground,
Like footwork.
enforcing it. Yeah, making sure these kids go to school. Parents got to be held accountable. I heard that they were going to stop finding parents, but I think parents, if I got to fine you to get your attention, to get your kid attention, then you might just have to get a fine,
Right.
because we got to do something.
Okay.
We got to do something. We got to pour into our community. We got to pour into the kids. And we got to be intentional about it. Not just throwing money at people, put money in their bank accounts when they don't really know how to use it properly.
Right.
Like, I don't know that I need to take this money to try to buy a house, or take this money to do something productive with it, start a business. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just going to blow it.
Right.
And they know that. That's why they put it in an account.
Yeah.
Let me get them this money. They're going to put it right back into the economy. They're not going to save it.
Right.
They're not going to do nothing useful with it. So I'm going to give it to them, because we're going to get it right back.
Right. Right.
So you're giving people money without financial literacy.
Yeah. And we got to understand financial literacy too.
Yeah.
That should be taught in the schools.
Yeah,
Also,
sure.
financial literacy. All right, Sonia,
It's a wrap.
I'm glad having you.
Thank you for having me.
What you want to leave with? Like, anything you want to say to the youth? Anything you want to say to people in general? For us, like, in the community.
Consider talking to somebody. If you're not really ready to go to therapy, talk to somebody. Start trying to spend some time with yourself, trying to understand what's going on with you. Start processing our stuff better.
Okay.
And giving each other a break. Showing empathy. Not being so ready to be on go.
Right.
Be more understanding of one another.
Okay.
Appreciate that we all have similar experiences. Like, we're not each other's enemy.
All right.
That's
All right.
That's
All right,
all.
Sonia, thanks.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.